All right. The picture on the screen is not from me. I didn't add it to my slide. My wife did. So I just want y'all to know. If you see mine, you will know it's mine because it's ugly. So I just want y'all to know. All right, but I'm going to talk about being fully present. Being fully present. And you will say, Pastor Matthew, but what do you mean by being fully present? One of the reasons why I'm really bent on talking about this now is, number one, it's summertime, and there will be too many movement and hanging out and making connections and all of that. It's important. Number two, and I'm going to start it with a question. How many of you have this? It's a cell phone. This is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with this. Thank God for technology. But it's possible that this thing is creating a distance between families, relatives, loved ones, etc., and etc. So I just want to come your way this afternoon just to encourage you so that we can talk over some few things and where in which we can make some adjustment so that we can enjoy this in the most decent and better way. That's what I'm here for. If you will bear with me, sometimes if this does not happen to you before, maybe it's happened to somebody or a group of people that you know, or maybe you've seen it somewhere. You go to a coffee shop or to a restaurant and family or friends just gather and say, let's go hang out. And everybody got to the restaurant, and guess what? They are all on their cell phone. And way back then, it never really used to be like that. We used to have our phone landline in the house, and when we walk out of the house, that's it. If you don't meet me home, you leave a message. And then when we step out, we are free. We ain't got to worry about nothing. And I believe in those days, people used to really connect more, much more, than where we find ourselves now. And to the extent that it got so worse that even we can be in church and some people cannot find it easy to disconnect a little bit from that. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it when it is scripture readings, because things have gone to the extent that technology have made it so easier that we can find the Bible on our phone. You can use it for reading your scripture or when the pastor talk about something. But the people that I'm talking about, they are not here. I'm talking about those people that can be on Facebook when they are in church. Instagram when they are in church. Sending out texts and having text conversation when they are in church. Those kind of people I'm talking about, they are not here. I'm just saying. Praise God. But just imagine you make all the phone calls and you say, yes, let's meet at so-and-so or coffee shop or restaurant and we're going to hang out. And you're planning it for 2 weeks. And people drove from 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and they burn their gas. And they come to hang out in it, and then everybody's on their cell phone. So Jason read the scripture, and I just want us to read this together. 1, 2, go. The Lord said to Moses, come up to me on the mountain and stay here. Now, other translation will say remain here. But there are people who translate the Bible and other things, and when they came to this particular verse, it's like when you are reading it, it's kind of like redundant or repetitive, I may say, because if God is telling Moses to come on up to the mountain and stay here, where else will Moses be? You cannot go nowhere else. You're going to be right here on the mountain. But God has said, come up on the mountain and stay here. It's kind of a repetitive. So, if you read the scripture in its original text, and God's intention is that God said unto Moses, come on up to this mountain and be here. And it is not so much about Moses being there in person, but it is about Moses being there. Are you hearing me? Because it is possible to be here and you are not here. It is possible to be here physically, but you are not here mentally. And there are some people that are all the way now in Brooklyn Park, but their physical body is here. Some people are thinking about other things, but they are sitting right here. When you come on up in my presence, God said to Moses, I want you to come with your undivided attention and be here. I need your undivided attention. Now, Mount Sinai is south, where you see that triangular something pointing. That's Mount Sinai. Egypt is on the left. Canaan land is all the way northern part, sort of. And so, if you were to go to Mount Sinai like Moses, God told him, he said, come on up and be here. That was the time he was going to tell him so many things about the Ten Commandments and all of that coming into place. So Moses walked up this mountain. He didn't drive. He didn't fly. He walked up this mountain. And this mountain is about 7,000 feet above sea level. 7,000 plus feet above sea level. And just imagine you, an older person, walking up that mountain to get to the highest peak. The summit of that mountain is, And there are people that hike up Mount Sinai. And for those who hike very fast, that can, younger people that have been doing that for so long, the least hour that you can use to get up there, the total is 3 to 4 hours. In total. In total. So just imagine, when you get up there, number two, it's a bit colder when you get up there. The temperature up there is different. It's cold. So people advise that you wear either a sweater or jacket, something like that, when you get up there. Because it's cold. The temperature there is different totally. So Moses was called by God, come on up to this mountain and stay here or be here. Can you imagine walking all that long distance? It was likely that a lot of things is going on in Moses' head. I'm tired. I'm sweating. Moses is hungry. When would it be? Lunchtime. He's thinking about all of these things. How long am I going to stay here? All of these things are going on, and God knew everything in advance. So he told him, you know what? I know your physical body is going to be here, but I want you to be fully present. I want you to be fully engaged with what I'm going to tell you. I don't want your physical body to be here, but then mentally you are not here. I know there are a whole lot of things going on in your head already. And I know that. But I want you that when you are with me here, I need your undivided attention. Because that's the only way you're going to understand what I'm going to tell you. Being here physically or in person is not all to it. But fully being present is why important. Oh, people of God, this is where sometimes we miss out on a whole lot of things. I remember a friend of mine telling me some time back, and he said, one of the days he kind of noticed that when he was home, the kids would call, Mom, and Mom would say, yes, and they just need to call one time. But he also noticed that when they are calling him Dad, they would say, Dad, Dad, Dad. They call him 2 or 3 times. So he got ticked off and he got a little bit upset. Why will you call your mom only one time? But when you are calling me, you guys are calling me, you'll call me about 2 or 3 times. And the kids were like, oh, that's easy. Because when we call Mom, one time she answers. But when we call you, it's like we got to call you 2 or 3 times before you respond. Being there, but not there. They got to call him 2 or 3 times before he can respond. I think these are some of the things, because it is possible to be here and not to be here. Kids are actually in dying need of the presence of their parents. They are longing that their parents will be there for them. And sometimes they are actually hungry for that. They yearn for that. They really, really need that connection for dad or mom to be able to talk to them. But sometimes dad or mom is on the cell phone or on social media or engaged with a whole different thing. And the kids. And it may not be only the kids, but sometimes your husband is in a dire need and really need to talk to you, or your wife, or maybe your brother or your sister or whoever. They need you at that moment. But then we sacrifice those precious moments with social media. David Bader, one of the writer, a gentleman that I follow, he wrote this, and he said, be here now, be someplace else later. Is that so complicated? In theory, no, it is not complicated. But realistically, yes, it is complicated. Because we got so much caught up into a whole lot of things. We got to go to work. We got to come back from work. We got to cook. And I understand all of that. And then we got to, some of you got to send out email. You got to catch up with this other one. And you got to do this. And sometimes, especially in America, our life has been caught up in a rat race that we got to run so, we got to do so, we got to do so, we got to do this, we got to take care of this, we got to do this one, we got to do this one. And every day, our life is in a run mode, and we have no time for our family. And we don't even have time for ourselves. The children need our attention. Husband needs the wife's attention. Wife needs the husband's attention. Children or friends or relatives or family member, and the list goes on and on and on. There are some people that we used to connect with, but we don't connect with them so much, but we connect with social media more than having a physical or phone call or connection, real connection that we used to have. We don't have that anymore. Is the cell phone a bad thing? No, that's not what I'm saying. Is the internet a bad thing? That's not what I'm saying. Is the laptop or desktop, is it a bad thing? That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying, the good thing can be misused. The good thing can be abused. And abuse is 2 words, abnormal use. we need each other, because sometimes your presence in that person's life can make a huge difference at that moment. And if we don't give that attention to that person at that moment, it is possible that we can regret it later on. Because sometimes God actually put that person in your way for you to make connection at that time, but then you decide to shift in a whole different mode, or turn to something else. And sometimes haven't you heard this story before, that sometimes you see the person that day, and then the following day the person is dead and gone. And you say, oh, I had it in my mind to do this and this and that for that person yesterday, but I got caught up with something different. There is a story that I read some time back before putting this sermon together, and I'm just reminded, so I included that. A second grade student in Louisiana, down south. The teacher told them to kind of talk about invention, and after that they're going to write about it. What's on your mind about invention? Anything. And they were going to discuss it. Second grade class. And this is what one of the second graders wrote, and the teacher read it. This is what she wrote. She said, I don't like the phone because my parents are on their phone every day. I hate my mom's phone, and I wish she never had one. A second grader, yearning for mother's love, yearning for parents' love, but she couldn't have access to that. Most of the care or attention is being placed on cell phone, on social media, than focusing on the family. And they are little, they may not be able to speak up. But we are leaving that gap in their heart all along. Listen to me. The moment she read that, she brought the whole class back together, and she took a poll. How many of you this same thing is happening to? All of them said the same thing, that their parents or their guardians said, our parents or our guardians spend more time on their cell phone and on social media more than paying attention to us. Just imagine, it was just the 12th grade class, but imagine it going beyond the whole 12th grade class, the whole of the United States. And not just the United States, it has become a viral to the whole world that there are parents that have disconnected themselves from their family. And the disconnect is not that you are not giving them food or water to drink or shelter to live. No, you're still providing those things. But what good are those if there is no real connection? They need the attention of the parent. And I said it, and I'm going to say it again. If we don't do it now, we will not be able to do it later. We can do it now while they are 2 years old, 3 years old, 10 years old. If we let them to leave the house and we don't do it, at the 10-year-old, if we don't do it, at 11, if we don't do it, at 8-year-old, if we don't take care of that, don't forget, 18-year-old is coming. And they will leave the house. And when they leave home, it will be hard to put that into them. To give them that care, it will be hard now. Because all that they are going to leave home with is that hole on the inside. That vacuum on the inside. Now let's come back a little bit. When it comes to husband and wife, or relatives, or family, that you still have access to, adults, how many time do you spend together? I know everybody's working, I get that. But the least amount of time that you have when both of you meet at home. I'm asking this question because John 3:16, as good as it is, and we can preach on it for a whole year. I'm telling you, if I can preach on John 3:16, I don't mind. I can take it word by word and I will preach on it for a whole year. Trust me on that. But there are some things that are eating up the fabric of our life that we need to deal with. And if we don't deal with these things, it can create future harm and we can regret it later. So as a pastor, it is my job to talk about these things as the Spirit of God brings it to my attention. I'm not in your home. I am not in your family. But I believe that somebody needs to hear this. If not all of us, somebody in this room needs to hear this. Because my point is, technology must be a servant, and it shouldn't be your master. Technology has to be your servant. It should never, ever be your master. Because the time we need to spend together is very important. And if you lose that, you may not get it back. May not. But while we are still alive now and we're still breathing, these are the precious moments to take a step back and say, hey, I need to take some inventory of my life and how I've been doing things and be able to do some readjustment. It's very, very important. All of us, we need to do that because we got caught up with social media and a lot of things. So sometimes this is how our life looks like. It's how our life looks like. Oh yeah, I'm very serious. It's how our life looks like. Everything around us, everything in our life is out of order, messy. Social media. We focus on social media instead of putting our house in order. Relationship is out of order. With the wife or with the children or with the husband, it's out of order. We spend more time prioritizing something that we had no business prioritizing, and everything is falling apart around us. Don't let that master you. We should not allow social media or the cell phone to master us. We need to master these things. I haven't said anything yet on this picture, but you got the message already. This is how it looks like in other people's relationship. I'm serious. You see, wonderful conversation before going to bed, according to science, you sleep nice as husband and wife. Sleep much more better. And then, even if it is 5 minutes conversation, to just wind down and talk something better, even if it's something funny or something. It lowers your blood pressure. You go to bed on a good rhythm. And you sleep much more better than normal. But some of you get stressed out and you go to bed stressed out. The cell phone becomes your therapy. The social media become your therapy. And if you happen to see something weird on social media before going to bed, then you take it in your dream. And then you wake up stressed out. Some of you don't even sleep in the middle of the night because of what you saw before you went to bed on social media or the news that you read. But as husband and wife, if you can spend that 2 minutes. I know some of us, when we hit the bed, we are gone. So if we can spend that just 2 minutes and be able to talk something just between the both of you, even if it is not funny, but share that time together. And then when the other partner goes to sleep, that's fine. At least you got the last say. At least you've said something. Are you hearing me? I'm talking to all of us. Don't allow social media to have the final say. You live like the social media has divided them. They are there, but they are not there. They are there, but they are not fully present. Jesus spent time with his disciples. And that's why he wants us to spend time with our family, with our friends. I mean, church family as well. It doesn't have to be biological family anyhow. But learn to make that connection. It is important to make connections, to spend and give an undivided attention. Can you imagine sometimes you are there, but you are not there, that you can be talking with somebody and you're sitting across each other, or maybe you're facing each other talking. Have it ever happened to you before that you're talking to somebody and they are standing there, they are listening, they are hearing you, but they are not even understanding. They are way off, they are somewhere else. And you are asking them, are you listening to what I'm saying? And they are between social media and what you are saying. Or maybe they are standing there, but they are not even there. And so if you are like me, you're going to ask, are you really listening to what I'm saying? I got to ask that question to make sure, just to bring you back from Chicago back, or wherever you are, Arizona or Bloomington, wherever you are, just to bring you back to myself. Oh, Jesus spent a lot of time with his disciples. And in 3.5 years, he impacted the life of these guys, the 12 of them, to the extent that they couldn't recover from it for the rest of their lives. They became great, mighty men. Some of them were fishermen. Some of them were tax collectors. But regardless of their background, it didn't matter. 3.5 consistent years of impartation and spending time with them changed their whole life for the better. If you can take a little moment every day and spend it with your husband or with your wife. I know you're together in the house, but those precious moments, always have that little moment together. It means a whole lot. With your children, it means a whole lot. It means a whole lot. And my kids, they can't even stop me, because in your room, I run there anytime I wish. I just knock the door, boom. I got a way of knocking the door, and they all know. And by the time I'm there, I do my sound. There's a way I knock it 3 times. And they know. They don't even need to say, come on in. Unless if they are dressing and I come the wrong time and say, Dad, wait. Because when I knock, they know, the kind of way I knock, they know it's me. So they will say, oh, Dad, wait a little bit. But if I do my knocking 3 times and they know that it's me, and I don't hear any sound, then I know they are simply saying, I open the door and I walk in. I do that almost all the time. I just want to have that little moment to make some connection. Apart from them coming upstairs, or sometimes they come into our room and they say hi, that's fine. I love it. But sometimes I take upon myself to just go down the stairs and just make that little 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes connection. Sometimes I take longer than that. And I sit on your bed and we talk. It ain't got to be anything special. We just chill. I have to purposely do that. It's very much important. You got to create that environment. Because if we don't do it, there's going to come a time that we will regret it later tomorrow. And even with us as adults, husbands, wives, friends, brothers, and sisters, I know everybody in this room. And especially for those who've been with us from the beginning of time. The brother back there, Brother Ken, sometimes, when I'm busy, if I say text me, sometimes I'm in a meeting and Brother Ken will call. And if I can't respond, I will just, the free stuff or the how do you say it? Instant message that you can send out quick. I'll call you back. Or text me, please. I'll respond quickly. But Brother Ken, or maybe I'll call you back, or text me, please. I use those tools a lot. Most of the time, I say, can you text me, please? Or, yeah, text me, please. Brother Ken, 2 weeks ago, I called back. I think I switched from I'll text you or I'll call you back. So I decided to call him because I sent a text that I'll call you back. I called the brother. Guess what, brother? Hey, Pastor, I saw your text, but I'm not used to this text and texting each other thing. I love my conversation. I want to talk to you. Yeah. And then we met at the church again and said, I love to talk to. That's me right there. I loved, and you can hear it and you can feel it when Brother Ken is talking. And you better mind, because when you start to talk to him, he will take over the whole conversation. And I got to give him time to talk. Why? Because, sometimes people got stuff in your heart or on your mind that they just want to let it out. And they're looking for people to talk to. The text will not be able to cut it. Sometimes the text will not solve the problem. They want to hear your voice. They want to have that conversation. They want to have that connection. So once he told me that, I learned not to text him again. Or if I text him and say, I will call you back, I will make sure to call him back. When I'm in meeting and I can't respond, I'll text him, I'll call you back. And he will be waiting on that call. You see, we got to learn to make that connection. I'm telling you, the reason why I'm saying this, if you don't need it now, put it on the shelf, because you're going to need it one of these days. Because Christmas Eve, I really want to let you know. I said it here before. Christmas Eve, I was on duty. I work as a chaplain with the Ramsey County Sheriff Department. I got 1 week of duty every month. And that week was Christmas week. And I took that duty that week, and I was on duty. And the eve of Christmas, I got a call. And when I went, this gentleman and his wife were in the apartment with their 6-year-old kid. The gentleman had shot himself. He committed suicide over a little issue. Christmas Eve, he bought the Christmas present for his 6-year-old child, for his wife. He already put them under the Christmas tree, already wrapped up. Put it under the Christmas tree. They had a little issue between the two of them. Nothing big, but little thing escalated. And the other relative that was in the, I think next door or in the house, but it's a connected relative, I met her when I went in as a chaplain. And this woman is crying, and her face is turned to the wall. And she cannot even turn her face to look at us that went in. The police already left. I stayed behind, and I was there trying to console and comfort and to just be there. But her face was to the wall. And this girl, who is the connected family, said she's been like that since the police came. And I could hear her say, why? If I have known. Why, God? If I had known. And these are the words she kept on saying. So it drew my attention. And I couldn't ask her, but I was just there being present with her and going through that grief. But I couldn't understand why she kept asking why. And the rest of the thing that she kept saying. So, when I was about to leave, the relative walked me outside, and the dad of the young man was already in the house. So there are a couple of relatives were already in the house, and I already set up some stuff that I will be in touch, or maybe I will come back again, and all of that. But as I walk out, this relative of theirs walked with me and said, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, chaplain. That's how she said. Excuse me, chaplain. And I looked back and I saw her. She said, if you hear her say, why me? If I had known. Those were the two things. Why? If I had known. It was just a little confusion. Just little or nothing. And you know why? And the husband said, hey, it's not a big deal. I'm sorry. And she took it out of proportion, and she decided she wasn't going to talk to her husband. Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. There's supposed to be joy and excitement in the house. He already bought his gift. Bought the woman's gift. Bought the 6-year-old kid's gift. It's under the tree. And I took a picture. It's still in my phone. But the point I'm trying to make is she made a big issue out of little things. And that Christmas Eve, she did not talk to that man all day. And they went to bed. Early that morning, very early that morning, he called his daddy. And he said, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing, why I am doing this, but I'm just sick and tired with life. Maybe other things might have happened in the past, I don't know. But what happened at that moment trickles every other thing that might have happened before. And he went to the park and shot himself in the head. So this woman, this widow now, is now asking question, why? Could she have done it a little bit much better than what she did? Yes, she had a choice. That Christmas Eve, she would never forget it for the rest of her life. The incident that took place, she would never forget it for the rest of her life. It lives with her for the rest of her life. That choice. That choice of not being able to forgive her husband. That choice of not being able to let that little issue to slide. That one choice of not restoring that friendship, that relationship. That one choice of disconnecting from her husband. That one choice. You see, I'm saying all of these things to just let you know how much connection pays. Making those connections. Talking to people in person and being there. Because you never know. Everyone God brings your way is for a purpose. If you don't have much to say, even your hello is important. Even just a smile is important. And when somebody greets you by the wayside, and when you are going through the door or whatever it is, if they take their time to say hello, take your time to respond back. Because you never know whether you might see that person again. Because you never know. That respond, or that hello, or that greeting, or that hug, or whatever it may be, or that phone call that you will make. Because some people, life has thrown them into social media space so much that the friend that they used to connect with, all that relative, all that brother, that sister, all that husband, that wife, that they really used to have that close connection with, is just by text now, and there is no more verbal communication. Jesus spent a lot of quality time with his disciples, investing in them. It wasn't all about ministry. They just talk about life. They talk about just random issues. Share the fun. For those of you who watch The Chosen, if you watch The Chosen, you're going to see a whole lot of things. Jesus spent a lot of time. And the Bible records that Jesus, after ministry time, he will pull the disciple aside to himself and have that quality time spent with them. Oh yeah, it's very much important. I read another article, and the guy said when he never spent time with his kid because he was always flying for a job, going out of town all the time. And only the mom was the one who happened to raise all of the 3 kids. Guess what? When the time came, dad was never in the life of the child. Guess what happened? He ended up becoming one of the 2 boys end up they begin drug addict. The daughter got abused sexually. They were looking for love in the wrong place because dad was never in their life. And when mom is the only person that was in their life, the mom has to work extra hard and play the role of the father. And if mom is not in that position to play the role of the father, then the kids will end up doing something different. Thank God for single parents that were able to raise their kids, and the kids came up well because they play extra role. They play extra role. They got to play the role of the mother. They got to play the role of the daddy. And it was tough, but they kept on hanging in there. And God saw them through. So it's important to spend time with your children. It's important to also spend time with your husband or with your wife. I'm not saying you all should be together 24 hours and not talking to nobody else. That's not what I'm saying. But those precious moments, if it is 5 minutes, invest that 5 minutes. Invest that 5 minutes. Invest that 2 minutes and let it make impact. Andy Crouch, I encourage you to get this book if you can. It's very much important. Tech Wise Family. He wrote this in one of those pages, and this is what he said. If we don't learn to put technology in all of its form, in its proper place, we will miss out on many of the best parts of life in a family. We will. If we don't do that, if we don't learn to put technology in its proper place or in its proper form, we will miss out on the best part of life in the family. And I will go further than that. We will miss out the best part of life generally. Generally speaking, we will miss out on the best part of life. The best part of life is not only on social media. It's in connection. It's in our connection with our children, with our friends, with our family. I'm not saying you should be out there hanging out all day, but at least spend time outside of yourself to invest in somebody's life with a hello, with a greeting, or with just talking. As human beings, we were not created to just be by ourselves. like that. We are sociable beings. Yes, that's who we are. But technology has streamlined everything, that we are focusing on ourselves more than focusing on what is around us. And we don't do that to grab hold of ourselves, we will miss out on a whole lot of opportunities and a whole lot of blessings. And we will be hurting ourselves, hurting our family, hurting our children, hurting our relatives, hurting even our friends, and even hurting ourselves. So it's my prayer that when we leave from here, we will be fully present. We will learn to be fully present. Amen? We will learn to be fully present. Did you receive that teaching this afternoon? I receive it myself.